Okay guys, going to start our oil pastel techniques. First thing we're going to do is using our blending stump. So you're going to pick 3 colors and fill your space. Make sure as you apply the colors that you are not leaving those little white gaps. You'll notice in a minute that I go back over mine. So you're going to pick 3 colors. I picked 3 that are kind of in a common color scheme and fill in the space that you've created. You're going to have to apply a little bit of pressure. You might have to layer back over it. Okay, you're going to see me go back in because I realized I did not put enough oil pastel down. All right, I've got my oil pastel down on the paper, and now I'm going back in with my blending stump. I'm going to have to apply a little bit of pressure on there to kind of smooth it out. I'm pushing one color up into the next one and creating a nice, even application. If your blending stump does start to get dirty, you can use sandpaper to clean it off. Okay, so I'm going to continue blending with the blending stump. We're going to approach using a towel to blend the same way that we did the blending stump. We're going to pick 3 colors in a similar color scheme and apply them to the space that we've created, making sure that we are putting enough oil pastel on the paper that it doesn't look gapped or uneven. We're going to take our paper towel. I first kind of just balled it up in my hand and tried to do it, and I didn't like that I couldn't control it. So I thought it kind of made it a little messy. So then I kind of just wrapped it around my finger and used my finger to actually push the oil pastel around. And just kind of push that around. Now this next one, we're going to be doing blending with just our finger. Usually, most people prefer using their finger or the blending stump. I've kind of noticed. But I'm going to apply my color into my space I've created, putting those colors right next to each other. At the end of all of these blending methods, we don't want it to look striped. We should have like smooth transitions between our colors. Okay, now I'm using my finger. I'm going in a slight circular motion, pushing up on into the color kind of above it. I am applying a little bit of pressure, not pressing too hard. The next one is probably my favorite, but we're going to do some layering. So again, starting the same way, applying 3-4 colors into our spot dedicated for layering. And this time we're not going to use any tool except for the oil pastel that we have. So you'll notice like where I put color 1, I kind of brought it down a little bit further and I put color 2 directly on top of it. And I'm going to do the same thing with color 3. So I'm layering directly on top of what I've done already. And you can almost do this like a sandwich too, where you have like color 1, color 2, and then color 1 back on top, which is what I'm doing now. All right, up next is stippling. Stippling is created just by using dots close together, kind of bringing color 1 down a little over halfway, and then I take color 2, and notice that I'm overlapping color 2 into color 1, because otherwise it doesn't have the effect that we're looking for. And I'm going to do the same thing when I pick up color 3. So I'm bringing color 2 down, and I'll have this, and then I'll bring color 2 down a little bit, and then I'll put color 3 up. I did notice if I turned my oil pastel a little bit more to the side, it was more effective to apply to the paper. Up next is scumbling. Scumbling is it's very similar to scribbling. You're going to have loose marks kind of overlapping each other, almost like in a curled motion. And then you'll take color 2 and you'll overlap it onto color 3. It's a really good way to get some texture onto your drawings. This next one is going to be Sgraffito. Love Sgraffito. It's so fun. First, you're going to put down a color or two. So I'm going to use pink, and then I'm going to throw in some blue too. Nice and solid on the space that you've created. Make sure you're putting down a nice, thick, opaque layer as you put this undercolor down. Okay, you want it to be thick. All right, and then we're going to take our black and we're going to completely cover it. You can do this with more than just like a color and then black on top. You can do it with yellow on the bottom, red on top, but you're going to completely cover what you've just done with your black oil pastel for the purpose of this. Okay, completely cover it. And then just like that old scratch board art that we used to do as kids, well, if you're my age, you might have done it. We're going to take a toothpick. I'm using a paper clip because I did not have a toothpick at the time. And we're going to scratch back into what we've created. What you'll do is you'll be able to see those first colors that you put down before putting the black on top. You can create some really cool designs with your Sgraffito in this way. You can do cool textures, hair, all that cool stuff on your drawings. Up next, we're going to do a tint and a shade. So first thing is putting down a base color for your tint. I chose light green, put down a nice thick application of it, and then I take my white and I just put it directly on top. And it layers and it's going to create a tint of the green or whatever color you've chosen. Now I decided to stick with the green for the shade. So what I did is I put down my green, my original, my base color, my hue, and then I applied black on top. Black goes on very strong. Okay, you notice you can't even see my green anymore. So I went back and put green back on top of it, and it kind of blended it out a little better to create a shade. Then we started our monochromatic scales. I want you to notice that I put down my original color first, and I did apply more to the right side where my darker values were going to be. So that way, when I put the black on there, it didn't kind of completely overtake it. And then I went ahead and put my white on top of where my tints were going to be, and then I started putting my black on top of where my darkest value is going to be. After looking at it, I realized I needed a little bit more red in that second value, and I needed to make it look more solid as well. So I had 4 values there in my monochromatic value scale. All right, and then we hop over to our intensity scale. You're going to pick 2 complementary colors. Remember, those are across from each other on the color wheel. You put down color 1, and you can put down color 2, and in the middle, you'll overlap them. A nice blending there in the middle. Okay, and this is the finished product. This is what you should have on your papers. And that's it. We'll keep moving on.